session, this panel, and I'm so looking forward to the next one. Me, myself, being in the startup world for a number of years now, I gotta say it's a topic that's super, super interesting. How do we empower more female founders to enter the startup ecosystem and build great things? And we have 4 amazing ladies, role models, joining us online. I would like to introduce you one by one. The moderator is going to be Anna Vnuk-Blazevchuk, Head of Community European Women in VC. And then we also have Maria Han, CEO and founder of Nutrix, Reshma Sohoni, Managing Partner at Seed Camp, and last but not least, Antonia Buric, who is from PwC Race Ventures, and she's a co-founder there. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this panel about what will the next decade hold for female founders.
The 5 has passed, so we can start. Hi, I was about to run a brief introduction, but we were just so nicely introduced by the ushers there, and so we could definitely jump to talking about such an important topic about what the future will bring for female founders and female on the venture capital market. I'm so happy to be able to moderate this panel with 3 amazing ladies coming from the venture capital market, from entrepreneurial market, which is actually quite amazing, and hope to have a wonderful discussion. And before I'll give you the stage to talk about the future, well, I prepared a few facts maybe to just outline the current stage of what is happening with female founders right now, because the numbers are quite shocking. We know that only 2.3% of venture capital money go to female founders. It went to female founders in 2020. And this very small number even fell from 2.8 in 2019. And to be honest, this is just an overall European number. But looking per region, the number is even small, falling down to 1%. And that is shocking. Why? Because, well, female founders and female tend to outperform and skyrocket, both in terms of generating revenue, in terms of capital productivity. Some reports say that even up to 96% of outperformance in terms of using the dollar invested in them. So that is sad, let's say, sad part of this panel, but let's hope to bring some hope. Okay, but well, to that discussion. Well, we have Reshma Sohoni, who is the managing partner of Seed Camp, with well, a lot of success on her, let's say, on her shoulders, together with a few unicorns, all of them, sadly to say, male-led. But what links them is that all of them come from the CEU region, which is which thought to be underinvested, which was thought to be not so presentable and bringing hope, right, for venture capitalists. But yet 3 unicorns, wonderful. So Reshma, if you could please just give us some hopefully nice news and nice hopes for whatever that region can bring for female founders. Do you actually see the potential of the success for female-led or mixed teams in let's say the startup ecosystem in that region?
Absolutely. No, Anna, thank you for that, and hopefully I can tee up a more positive up and coming future as well. I mean, I think you did it exactly right, which is, I think, to liken kind of, where female entrepreneurship is today, more in terms of kind of, as you said, presentability, money wise, right? Like coming into the region, to the CE region, and so, as you said, we've seen incredible success, and it took us really looking into the region. I remember, I don't know if you know Daniel Dinas, kind of if you've seen him present, even all the way at like IPO day. He's evolved a lot in kind of speech style, everything, but I mean, he still represents CE really well, right? And I think we have to look into, beyond some of that, which was, I remember VCs used to say to me about some of the founders from the region, like, I can't understand them and the English. And it's like, okay, well, what is the technology? What is the inherent technology? And how can we, help bring mentorship in the areas of weakness? Because the areas of strength are incredible. And so I agree with you. I think seeing the similarities kind of in female entrepreneurship is like, there's incredible inherent talent. How do we help with mentorship? And I think particularly seeing role models. So I do think, the CE region seeing some role models continuing to, with now not just kind of local success stories that are getting venture money or becoming slightly bigger companies, but one of the biggest IPOs of 2021, right? An enterprise company worth over $30 billion on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, that is colossal. So, or for Wise being one of the most successful IPOs too of 2021, when it's been tough on some of the IPOs on a London stock exchange, right? And so I think seeing some of those stories at a colossal level, role models are so important. And so I think for women, in the audience, those supporting women entrepreneurs as well, the role models matter. And I do think, again, seeing on the public market stage, particularly probably led in the US, is some of the IPOs that have been happening in recent times, is seeing these incredible women on the IPO stage. That matters a lot. So I do think that will have its similar spider web of effect that folks like Daniel and Christo and Tavid at TransferWise and Nick at Revolut and so forth do for the region itself. It'll have for our gender. I think the other thing that then kind of finishing up and getting on with it is, just in our own portfolio, we see quite an increase in mixed teams, as you said. Women, men is part of that founding team, and women, female-led entrepreneurship as well. I will say it's more mixed, and that's okay. Like I think each thing is something to be celebrated and pushed. We keep pushing, and so we've seen a big increase in our portfolio. It's awesome to see. I see a big increase in venture capital, women in VC as well. So I was thinking back, I was talking to a potential LP today, thinking back 14 years ago, starting Seedcamp. I was a sole GP basically, and female. Like, it was unheard of at the time. Not really many places to look around and see. But today there are so many more women in venture capital partner roles, right? And I remember there used to be this thing, is like there were analyst, associate, but you just couldn't kind of cross the chasm into a partner role. And we see so many more women in partnership roles. So VC is entrepreneurship, VC, and then LPs also seeing. I think it's an area where women still haven't broken through as much as the LP world, but I definitely seeing more female LPs as well. So I think us all crowding in will have an impact across the board, and role models. And I'm happy to be one. I do cherish it. Maybe my kids don't see me as one, but I really get inspired by women who reach out to me to say they find me a role model, and can I help, and can I? So I do love that, and I think they matter a lot. I didn't have so many as women, at least, but I had some great male supporters, and I think that matters a lot. But I'll stop there.
As long as you can pitch to somebody. So you are actually definitely the example that female need female on the market. We have Maria. Maria is the only founder here. So she knows what initiatives she used so far and whom she turned for help, like some founders to turn to Reshma. Maria, if you give us a brief sort of outline of what initiatives are out there in the market for female founders to reach out, to get help, to get the mentorship. Maybe that would be something founders who are listening to us would like to hear.
Yes, thank you. And it's wonderful to join you today and talk about this topic. No, because when I first find out the statistics, this was brutal. This was like, oh my God, like, no, this is like, we really need to be at the top of our game, because it's like performing in Olympics. No, like we really need to, yeah, outperform all the rest. Because if we think, no, like 1%, 3%, this is very low. But I think what is wonderful, and I always try to focus on the positive, is all the support, no, that is now there for us. And we've been very privileged. We got the support both from the Chilean government. There was a program that was mainly for the female factor, so the promoting the female founders, which was wonderful, focusing only on this. And then we also got support from the Swiss organizations that were also promoting us. No, so they were really looking for the female founders in the tech. So there is lots of activity in this area, and I think I found this wonderful. No, and also like the conversation that we are having today. So I think there is a change of the mindset. We participated in several accelerators, and what we also notice is that whenever there are VCs coming to present, they also mention, no, like it's so important, the diversity of the teams, that they also start to pay attention, no, like what is the ratio, what is the mix, that I think those statistics are getting there, no, that we, let's say like the female-led startups are providing the higher return on investment, that we are really in providing a good solution, and this is noticed, no, so this is a very, very positive sign. So the activities, just to summarize, that we participated are the accelerators. We also got the mentorship from the, let's say like in this area, not always provided by the female founders. I think, you know, like what Reshma said, it's also great, you know, like where we have encouraging men, no, supporting also us and providing this mentorship. And then all the activities like organizations, no, like Women in Tech, where we can also connect with other startups. So I am still, let's say like now, actively looking also for the let's say like for the, I would love to see like more unicorns, no, like as Reshma said, no, like companies like, okay, with the successful exit, big exit, IPO, unicorns, that, you know, like we really can see a positive sign. And also I believe that, you know, like after those successful exits, there is a money that is coming back to the ecosystem, no, and I think, you know, like as a female founder, then those this money will be reinvested also maybe in the large amount in other startups that are led by female founders.
Absolutely. This snowball, the waterfall effect, whatever you want to call that, is very important. You said mentorship, both of you said mentorship, but what else should we reach for out in the ecosystem to be, as a founder, be able to get more investment, to get more money? If you could take that, Antonia, and just give us maybe a little bit more, what else female founders could do in order to actually get the money to grow?
Sure. No, thanks, Anna. And as the others have said, it's really great to be here today. So just to kind of my team, I work in the PwC Raise Ventures team. We help high growth companies to fundraise. So I work with a lot of founders. We know fundraising is tough. A typical investor will get 1,000 decks a year, potentially invest in 10. We then look at, we said, if you mentioned the female numbers, even lower. So we've got to do everything we can to maximize the chances of getting the funding. So overall message would be, don't underestimate the amount of time and work involved to maximize those chances. And if I look at it in two ways, one would be in terms of the documents to increase that, and also in terms of the process. So just from the documents perspective, when we're working with companies, a couple of key things are the financial model and the pitch deck. Financial model, investors in the UK, Europe love their numbers. They love the KPIs. Make sure you are all over those and your drivers. Then from the pitch deck perspective, when we're assessing companies, we have a technique called the 5 M's to assess. And again, just something to maybe be aware of when you're putting together that summary deck to put to the investors. So the first one is your momentum. So how far have you come? What's your traction? The next one is your market. How big is the market? How fast is it growing? The next one is management. Who have you got on your team? Why are you the right people to do it? The next one is machine. What is your product? Why are you defensible? And then finally, what about money? How much have you raised so far? How have you used it? What do you want now? And how are you going to use it? So those are 5 M's that we look for when assessing company. So that's in terms of the documents. Get the best documents, give you the best chance. In terms of the process, just quickly, I think the key thing up front is be confident and passionate, because really investors at this stage are buying into you. You don't have enough, there's no guaranteed outcome. But if you can sell to them, then they believe that you'll be able to sell to others. The next thing is female founders tend to get more pushback and challenge than male founders, it's been shown. And also female founders are shown to be more likely to accept criticism. What you've got to do when you go out there is be ready to respond. Be ready, have the numbers, be objective when you go there. The next thing is that female founders, male founders are shown often to overpitch, oversell compared to female founders. Female founders will tend to be more conservative. And if you look at the amount of funds that they actually received, even though the numbers were very small, they also received generally 50% of what male founders received. So when you're looking at your forecast, are you being confident enough? Are you asking for enough money? Again, just something to keep in mind. And the next one is really make the most of your networks. Both Rashna and Maria, you've mentioned it, but if you get a warm introduction to an investor, you are 7 times more likely to get through to investment committee and ultimately investment. So really make the most of them. As Maria's touched on some of those, there's so much out there for female founders, which is so positive, but make the most of it. And then finally, one last thing is once you are successful and once you do hopefully exit and success, please think about how you then give back. So one area is potentially becoming an angel, like Maria said. I think in the UK currently is only 15 to 18% of angels are women. Women are much more likely to invest in female founded businesses. Going on to Rashma's point around investors and investment committees, in the UK, 83% of investment committees have no females at the moment. These are where the decisions are being made. Again, if you can go in and become part of investment decision, have balanced decisions, and then also become role models. So all these areas hopefully will increase the chances of success.
Perfect. You guys are actually taking my job here because I wanted to summarize. You actually absolutely jump into another topic and another part of the discussion brilliantly. Well, because we know that female investors tend to invest much more in female founders. So if we want to have diverse projects and not emit half of the market, we have to have female investors out there. This is 3 times. You just mentioned 7 times while pitching. I mean, this is just something quite shocking, right? So we maybe know how to fix the systemic problem here and actually do equal up the potential of the market and do equal up the projects that are out there just to be reached out. Reshma, you're the only investor here. Could you maybe take that top-down approach and look from the investor's perspective? How do we attract, or what should the system do in order to get more female investors in order to push that waterfall of money down on venture market?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think so. When I was kind of going through 15 years ago or so, until probably about 5+ years ago, you definitely saw an entry of women into venture capital. Probably a bunch of us coming from sort of consulting or investment banking backgrounds. But it did hit a bit of a ceiling in the sense that it, when you got married and had kids, tended to coincide with like your greatest activity especially rising into leading deals and kind of fighting for deals and owning those and so forth. That the 30s, right? And it's a tough time basically. So, but I think what's changed now is firstly, there are more women coming from other backgrounds as well, which is crucial. Like I was just talking to someone who had come from Uber. There's definitely many more female VCs coming from the likes of Ubers and others from operating backgrounds. So I think that's a thing. But the 30s, I think we have more management tools. Still not enough. I'm a big advocate for governments doing more in terms of equalizing truly, like maternity, paternity, time off, forcing men to take paternity, all of that, right? It's hard to do, even as a VC fund, when it's your own partners involved. But so I think some of the infrastructures come a long way, and I do think remote and the pandemic will be a massive boon to women because of that. It's like it's easier. It's not easier, but like it's easier if at all, like to manage, because you can do more things remote. You don't have to. You don't have to travel necessarily for an event. Or I mean, I always used to think like dinners are the worst thing for parents, because that's like the time you spend with your kids. They're like, dinners are like anti-parent, so I think that infrastructure is starting to become more inclusive for, especially at that that sort of perfect age. But also again, there's more democratization in VC funds. You can do deals at a different different stages of life, different ages, and so forth. So I think that's helping a lot, because I think women used to leave or just couldn't. It's you're judged by the deals you make and also by the deals you miss. And so I was actually on maternity leave, and we missed a pretty crucial deal for us. And so it's like still lives on 10 years later in our memories. If you're just not there, if you're not there, you can't do a deal. Like and so I think governments need to do far more. Private organizations like us need to do far more. From my experience, we built a much better maternity policy in our company. I didn't get to take advantage of it, but I'm going to make sure every other woman, and man gets to. So I mean, I think we individually also need to do, a lot more. The one thing I'll say was interesting to listen to the 5Ms, Antonia said, and I would say, for us, it's really kind of the machine and a little bit management, less so any of the other ones, because just when we invest in companies, those things aren't there yet. So I think what people don't do enough, entrepreneurs in general don't do enough out there, is really research who's a good fit for you. And I think the biggest time waste is joining things like accelerators, mentor networks, all of that, if you haven't done the homework on how they're a fit for you. And I do find, more novice entrepreneurs, both men and women, but I do find women more generally, like, will grab on to a lot of these, and I'm like, that's a complete waste of time. Like you're not going to get anything from that, and it's not high quality. So stop wasting your time. So us putting out there the message around mentoring and accelerators and system and people who can support you is all based on you doing homework, that it's actually a fit for you. Because people might be smart, but they're not a fit for you. So that's a crucial point I wanted to make.
Right. It's lovely to actually have, all of the voices from your side to actually, exchange that, because, this is how the system should work. We should all work together, and we advisors, founders should actually speak out whatever they need. Investors, like open investors, should go out there and say, hey guys, this is what you really need in order to succeed, because we have seen so many of those stories. Just brief comment on the investor side. Absolutely, Reshma, from the micro level, you have to start from the company, you have to start from the governmental policies. Well, a lot has been done, but there's still only less than 5% of female GPs, both in the United States and Europe is not much better. I think it's still a single digit percentage. So this is all what it comes in. Just very quickly summarizing what you said, this is all about track record. If you're on maternity leave, you're not building your track record, you're not building your company, then you cannot pitch with your second or first one if you want to. Then this is all the systemic problem that we have to tackle. And the systemic problem also touches, let's say, the workforce level from the tech side. I mean, because there's still not enough women in technology as we wish to see, right? Who become founders, who become CEOs, who deliver wonderful projects, femtech projects, clean green tech projects that we really need for innovation. So Antonia, maybe you got something to say how we should and what we should do in order to actually get those female tech leaders into ecosystem.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, if you look, the Sunday Times did a research piece this year on the fastest growing companies, tech companies in the UK. 4% had female founders or co-founders, 4%. Okay, this is the numbers we've got to massively change in the next 10 years. So why is this happening? So it starts early on. If you look at STEM subjects being studied, you've got over 50% of boys studying them at university, 30% of girls. And then if you speak to girls and boys at school age, university age, around the career potential, what they're going for, you've got only 27% of girls who would potentially consider a career in tech, compared to boys, 61%. And even more startling is if you ask girls what their first choice potential career would be only 3% of girls would consider a career in tech. Okay, these are the numbers. So then you ask, like, well, why is this happening? 3 key reasons. First one is that if you ask what's important to boys and girls, young men, women and men about their career, men, it's about salary and career progression. For girls, it's about, apart from being, it has to be interesting, that's a key thing, is what is the impact that they can make on the world and society. What is missing at the moment is the connection with all the amazing tech careers out there and how they link through to the world and society. That's number 1. Number 2, girls just aren't being asked about a tech career. If you look at numbers, 33% of boys were asked, only 16% of girls. And then finally, going back to the earlier point, Rashna and you mentioned, Amira, is around role models. So I think 80% of girls aren't able to name a female role model in tech. Boys much higher. And one step further than that, so kind of on the progression, is that the number of female role models who've also had families. Founders are saying, I'm going through this stage and I can't see anyone who's done it and done it well. So these are the reasons, and kind of what can we do? So just something to touch on is, I don't know if you've heard of Tech She Can. It's just become a charity just last month. Yeah, you've heard of it. Amazing work. It was originally set up in PwC by Sheridan Ash. Been going for a few years. It's got over 200 organizations now. And basically what it does is 2 things. One, it's done lessons going into schools, and it's all about inspiring young people into tech careers. So both going and doing lessons, but also taking role models, people who are working in tech, and going to meet young people to give them that example of all the different things you can do in tech, and also role models. So this is just one small thing that's being done, but I think it's things like this that will make the difference in the future.
Well, absolutely. I think if we tackle the problem from all the perspectives, we get a win here, I think. So it's absolutely.
I mean, the last thing I think the last thing to say also is, like, I think we end up talking about sort of, even today, I feel like we're talking a lot to women. And I think we really just need to keep talking to men also is, I think the audience right now, I think if you're a man in the audience, you're probably likely to be 80% men in the audience anyways, is, to look at yourself and to say, who is a female kind of that you can support, whether it's, whether you're a CEO and therefore, if not in your kind of CXO team, is there someone you can groom and support in joining that CXO team, or your board, or even more junior, colleague that you can kind of mentor, support, and be an ally for. So I think the biggest thing for the men in the audience today is like each one to find, who they can be an ally of, and, women that they can be an ally of as an LP, as a VC, as an entrepreneur, as a coder, especially as coders. Because it's hard for women to join all male coding teams, right? It's shown that it gets harder and harder to recruit women into teams that are mostly men. So yeah, really the message for men in the audience is if you do nothing else today, is like figure out how you can be an ally.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and works for venture market so much too. If you take LPs that we already mentioned them, I mean, come on, just consider the good returns and the good projects that are out there brought by women. I mean, if we want to take money, then here we are talking money here, right? Apart from all the advice that we are giving to female founders, female on the market. I mean, really, we're talking about performance and money, and involving men into that. That's a brilliant idea. But Maria, you're looking at the looking at the entire process of being a founder, of pitching, of you just closed the round. So what else besides a good male partner out there we could give you as ecosystem players? I mean, what else there you see a necessity to have in order to succeed as a female founder, let's say, if we are finishing?
Exactly. I think, exactly, this will be a wonderful day, when we start to, when we stop, differentiating and we just have founders. But I think what is needed is more governance support. And also, I think what we should have in place are the metrics, because Antonia mentioned, like those ratios. But the question is, okay, like how, like where we would like this ratio of the female founders to be in 10 years, because let's say like on the corporate level, it also started like this, and then at the end they were like minimums of C-level employees, where you had I don't know, one third that was going to women. So I think like the good point would be, okay, like if we are having this on average 3% today, do we bring it to 10? And then like, yes, what would need to be done, like from a bottom up and from both sides. So I would say like this, and really it's more challenging on the private side, most likely, but from the government side, we should really push for this, because those are the public money, those are our taxes, and they should be invested wisely. So I would say we need more on this side. And then as you mentioned, also in the universities, encouraging women to choose the technical pathways, to really try to link them also, with let's say like the female factor with the tech factor. So at the end we have the diversity, because like for me, it's not all about me, it's about like who I surround myself with, my team, my advisors, so that we can be successful. So I think if we could have more instruments in this, and that we really encourage young girls to also choose the tech side, this would be wonderful. Because let's say like for us, one of the challenging parts now as we start to grow is make sure that we have the right diversity, because it's very challenging, for example, to find the AI engineer that is female, and for me as a female founder, I also would not like to be the only woman on my medtech startup. So I think, yes, encouragement on different levels, and maybe still more activity from the governments.
Oh,
Just
sure.
on that,
Do you
what
want-
you're saying around, you mentioned, Maria, around hiring and kind of getting that balanced workforce, and also going back to what you said, Reshma, around finding the engineers. The another key thing that's been found is around, just a simple thing, is around the wording of the job adverts. and how like a very large engineering company was looking to employ a large number of engineers, and they normally had maybe a couple of percent females would apply. Just by changing that wording, they end up with over 50% of female applicants. That's amazing. Just making that difference.
That is to be done.
I'm sure you're doing it, Maria, but it's amazing.
No, but it is absolutely to be done in any kind of part of the market when we look at it, right? We have a, let's say, EIC fund that's at 40% of female projects to be funded. And there are female-founded projects, right, which are brilliant in their pitching, and they just need a little push and support. Well, so any brief ideas that you want to share with our audience today? We are out of the questions. I can summarize, of course, still with... let's say a bit of hope, but still a lot to be done. But if you ladies have anything to add, just feel free. I mean, all thoughts and all ideas and summaries are welcome.
No, I gave everyone homework. I gave everyone homework. Fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think everyone should go out there and just really take a minute and think about whatever was said here. Remember that we have to tackle the problem entirely. We cannot just take each part and just, take it out there and think we are done with our job. We do have to look at female founders as brilliant entrepreneurs, as those who are bringing us a lot of returns, those who are bringing us great revenues, those who are encouraging and involving more women on their company side. We need to definitely back female investors who are bringing the diversity, bringing us the half of the projects that we need because they invest in women. They are the mentors, and they're definitely gonna make a change. And we need more feminist and male friends out there who are listening to us and who are backing up female projects and who see the value in anything that ladies could bring to the system, and hope to set some KPIs, because we just cannot go about, complaining how bad is that for women on the market. It's just, let's set KPIs to public institutions, to LPs, to ourselves, to universities and any other players in the ecosystem to make the change, give a lot of innovation through backing up ladies. Well, thank you very much for being here today. Great applause to the organizers for building up this panel with a lot of voices from different sides. And I really hope that we gave some lesson. Reshma was responsible for homework to everybody who is listening to us in the audience. And thank you. It was so lovely to be able to moderate that panel. Hope to see everybody maybe in person next year. And not only in hybrid, or not only in this hybrid sort of way. So thank you very much. And I guess we're gonna see each other offline to try to tackle the problem together. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies, for this amazing panel discussion. Hopefully more female founders will be inspired to get onto the entrepreneurial journey. And now I just wanted to say once again, thank you so much for being with us this whole long day.